will still be posted in the lesson.
Well, we can say what that.
There's also been recorded with some.
All right, we're back.
Okay. All right, so our next question is for Gabe, right here sitting next to me. So Gabe, this was your first time at Naarpr, and as a pack co-chair, what was your experience at Naarpr last?
Yeah, I had a great experience. It was awesome, especially being able to go out there with all our people. Yeah, it was really cool. I've never been to something like that where it's like so many people. I've been to the Southern Regional Organizing Conference for Naarpr, which is regional and focused on the struggle for against police crimes for community police in the South. So it was cool. It was cool seeing all those people again in Chicago. It was also really cool just seeing how hard everyone's fighting from Milwaukee, Chicago, New Orleans, where it's even more oppressive, So yeah, it was really cool, really great experience. Excited to use what not just what we learned out there, just just feeling like re-energized and ready to get back to work like here. Amongst all these great people on this panel and behind the camera. So yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you, panelists, for answering the questions. Those are all the questions, but is there anything else that you wanted to share that we haven't asked? Now would be the time. Oh yeah,
it was really an honor to sit on stage with not only Gabe Kiddo from CSO, but the mayor of Chicago, Randy Johnson, was there. And he spoke awesome. He denounced the white supremacist racist system that we live under. And he united with the immigrant rights movement, with the anti-police brutality movement. So, and right before that, I mean, the raids that occurred in Chicago. So Chicago stood up and pushed ICE out. It was the Chicago Black working class community that united and got rid of ICE for that day, for that time. So that was awesome being there, And also, the families of Black and Chicano families that were there who had lost their sons or daughters to police killing, that was very impactful, And of course, we had the Legalization for All workshop, which was packed. I couldn't even find a seat, and that was awesome. And then the keynote speakers are really good too, right? But also listening to Frank Chapman, African-American leader who was in prison for many years, who became politicized. While he was in prison, he became open to socialism. He joined the left movement, and he continues to organize. When he gave his opening and closing speech, I thought it was very profound, again, in this time of being attacked by Trump, like Karina mentioned, it's important that we all unite, coalition, united front, and I think we came out with that message. Thank you.
all right, let's go ahead and open it up to the audience. Does anyone in the audience have questions?
Hi, my question is for any panelist that wants to answer. I think it's really inspiring that everybody got to meet in a central location. And like you said, you got inspired and meet people from Jacksonville and Colorado and all these places. So as the country kind of turned to LA to watch Central CSO, what is LA doing? Who is LA going to turn to now because they are innovating and they're doing anything?
Yeah, I think like a big thing and a big takeaway with it was just having like that many organizations there. Every org is doing something a little bit different. So like it's all of us are doing like a lot of similar work, but there's just like those little things that people are like, we're doing this a little bit different, and you're like, oh, we've never tried that before. Like, okay, maybe we're gonna try that here. And then just seeing how like obviously laws are different in various states. So other states, other places have to do things differently. Talking to other CSO chapters, they're in like places, there's some CSO chapters that are in places where even just going out and protesting or standing out with the sign that says like fighting for immigrant rights, they'll get talked down too bad. People in the community will be like, we're gonna get you. So hearing that fight from their line, what they have to do is also like empowering too, because like, okay, damn, like it's different in different places, you know? But I think just the input from every organization on ways that like we can also continue to develop and continue to shift and change, because all this issue around immigration is constantly changing. You know, it's constantly changing, so we have to adapt too. But I just think that the ways that other boards are adapting to gives us as CSO a great opportunity to adapt as well and continue the fight in the best possible way. I don't know if anyone else wants to keep going.
Getting nominated. I would say I can speak for myself. I feel like I look at Carper as a good example whenever it comes to police accountability and the fight for community control, because they really have made some progress towards putting power in the hands of the community to oversee the police. And I feel like, as some folks have said, like our fights are different in every city. I mean, it's like the same fight because we're all fighting for community control of the police, right? That's our main demand. And as an affiliate of Naarpr, that's like what we use, right, to advance our campaigns. But every city has different conditions. Like LA is totally different from New Orleans, for example, in the South and Louisiana, very different conditions where the mayor there, I believe, like opened the city for ICE to just come in and, take whoever they want to take. And so that's very different from LA, where, for example, our mayor can do so much better, right? But at least there's like this so-called what's it called, sanctuary city, right? And so there's like some kind of at least optics of kind of being anti-ICE, but it's really performative. But still, the conditions are very different. LA is like a union town as well. There's a lot of movement on the streets, and so that's kind of something that I took away as well from hearing other organizers speak, where they've faced so much repression and like the conditions are a little bit different, but the campaigns and the fight is overall the same and united. And I think Chicago is also has just so much history of in the labor movement, in student organizing, and in the fight for community control. So I kind of feel like there's a lot we can learn from the organizers leading Naarpr over there. Yeah, for CSO.
Any other audience questions? You want to ask something as an audience member?
Let me see. There's a couple. I take like what's to be done next? What are we doing next? We went out to the conference. We talked about community of action, an idea, and building a broad united front to fight against Trump. How are we doing that in our work? I know we have some events coming up. We have protests for no war with Venezuela this Saturday. Immigration Committee has some marches and rallies that they're working with the coalition, and then I know Pat has a protest coming up with the Check the Sheriff Coalition and the family of Joseph Perez to Manchester. So maybe I see those as ways you guys are fighting on the streets and building that united front under Trump. So maybe you guys could just talk a little bit about each of those. Maybe y'all could break it up to like 3 different people speaking.
Wonderful question, audience member. Yeah, I mean, we have a few events coming up. You mentioned the protest, demanding justice or in support of Joseph Perez. But yeah, we're also, coalition building. That's really important to do. What else? Do I have something? Then I lost it. Yeah, and continuing the fight for community control police in not just World Heights, but maybe in LA and moving forward. Yeah, that's all I can think about, and then I'll pass it over to anyone on the immigration side or the education side if you want to comment on this question.
Honestly, don't talk about, honestly, even if they don't talk about this, then I was thinking we're gonna get it to talk about. We're gonna get Yes, tomorrow there's a rally protest saying no war in Venezuela, hands off Venezuela. And some of them, because why are you talking about Venezuela? First of all, Venezuela has the highest oil reserve in the world, more so than Saudi Arabia. So we know that the US wants to overthrow the government, in my opinion, and get access to that oil, right? It's not about human rights, it's all about hegemony, and the main general of what they call the Southern Command. And Southern Command, the US divided the whole world into military zones. So the Southern Command is Central America, South America. The general said that South America is the US front yard, and it's rich in minerals, oil, uranium, etc. So, I think, no, sorry, you already mentioned the protest on December the 13th at the Industry Hill Sheriff Station. And we're inviting everyone to be out there. We're in coalition with the Checker Sheriff Coalition as part of our strategy to unite other forces to fight against police killings. And, we can go on and on. We go to the Civilian Oversight Commission, where we do public comment. We continue to raise the demand of community control of the police. And we can go on the LEPD side, but I won't take more time. We can turn it over to Rita. Oh, to Jordan? Oh, I'm immigration. You're talking about me. Yeah, no, you're honest. Why?
Uh-oh.
We're joining a march and rally with other LA city organizers for the La Virgencita for a weekend of action that we're doing with the Legalization for All network. So we're really looking forward to that, speaking out about the injustice that's been going on since the Trump administration has been rapidly doing these violent ICE raids, and then on the 14th, right? And then on the 14th of December, we're doing another protest and rally alongside, we're gonna be leading doctors from White Memorial and other LA hospitals that are gonna be hitting the streets demanding, for justice for the detainees that are being violated, and all of these, laws, HIPAA laws that are being violated against them. So we're gonna be out there in the streets with the doctors, demanding justice for them and demanding a stop to these violent ICE raids and uplifting our demands of legalization for all.
I can add to the question. So, the ways in which CSO is trying to build the United Front is by working together with other organizations that are agreeing and aligning on certain actions together. I think earlier I tried to explain unity and action on ideas, but I feel like I can do better at explaining. We don't all have to agree on the same politics all the time. We will spend so much time debating, political line, but that's not going to get us anywhere when our enemies are already trying to divide us and break up our movement. So we need to just get together and put our energy together and bring out masses for collective actions. And so tomorrow, the action to show solidarity for Venezuela, it's super important for CSO to show up for that because we know that it's just US imperialism trying to get its hands on the natural resources of Latin America. And Venezuela has a socialist revolution and has been trying to roll out this revolution for many years. And it's been under attack, just as Cuba has been under attack, just as Nicaragua has been under attack for daring to struggle and try to form alternative ways for the people, the working people of those countries. And so that may feel very far away from what CSO is doing, but that's very connected to our fights here at home, trying to work or trying to fight for working people by fighting the police, by fighting ICE. And so we're united with other organizations and we've endorsed that action. And we want to show up and show out for Venezuela and say no to war. War, if it was really a war on drugs, the US government would be investigating the CIA and FBI and the police, right? But we know it's a lie. It's just a tactic to try to get folks to buy into more and more violence. And we know that destabilizing countries in Latin America is really what is the root of mass immigration. So yeah.
Awesome. Can we give a round of applause for our panelists? And that's the made the journey out here and was watching on YouTube World. We'll do some Spanish. We'll wrap it up first in English and then once to add some Spanish because I know some people already pretty soon. So yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up as well is the National Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression is Black led. And with San Francisco, we always stand with Black and Chicano solidarity. We're proud affiliates of that alliance. We're proud affiliates of that alliance with Naarpr. One thing that was very prominent this year was that there was a lot of Chicanos there. We were on the program. We were speaking at Open Valley. We were on panels, and there was a lot of us there in attendance. And I think that just goes to show you how much, the struggle for Chicano liberation is growing. You have it with like CSO chapters popping up all over, growing strong, both in San Jose and Charleston. Shout out to them. So it was really good. It was really cool. And then, like Carlos said earlier, that the legalization for all workshop was packed. There was nowhere to sit down. Yeah, it was great. And we'll wrap it up there. We've gone on for a while, so make sure you check in with tomorrow. We have a protest that we endorse and supported. The war on Venezuela, December 12th at 9:30 downtown Los Angeles, with our allies for the other weekend. Stop the attacks on immigrants, and then December 13th, protest at the City of Industry Sheriff Station.
Yeah, and just one last thing that I wanted to add, which I thought was really cool there, is that every org has like a representative from their org, and Gabe is our representative, and it's really cool because when we're there, like they have everybody, they call everybody up, each org, and they say, have a representative stand up, who do you want to represent your org for Naarpr? And Gabe was the one that was selected to represent.
And then like we have a meeting coming up for that. It's great, it's great that we're almost, this is national. And then we get to answer those national calls. Like one of the largest protests Central CSO had was when we answered the call, right, for the George Floyd protest. When he was murdered, had something about you. Yeah, that'll be it. I don't know if Carlos wanted to say some stuff in Spanish.
Ya, después que no tuvimos traducción, ¿verdad? Pero a las personas que hablan español, levanten la mano, por favor, también. Bueno, mire, este evento es para dar un reporte sobre la conferencia que nosotros participamos, incluyendo la familia de Flores, que estuvimos en Chicago en noviembre. La convención se llama la Alianza Nacional contra Represión Racista y Política. Es una organización nacional con más de 20 sucursales en toda la nación, especialmente en las ciudades grandes. El motivo principal es luchar para el control comunitario de la policía. y organizar y unir las familias que han sufrido la muerte de sus hijos o hijas por la policía y demandar justicia. Y tuvimos muchas familias que estuvieron ahí hablando de ese problema grave, ¿verdad? Como los Sergio y otras familias, pero también tuvimos un taller de la organización Legalización para Todos, donde se unieron muchos jóvenes y adultos y hablaron sobre las luchas contra la migra y el ataque federal, ¿verdad? Y el Centro CSO, como Verita, Topete y Jordan hablaron sobre el trabajo que Centro CSO ha hecho aquí en Los Ángeles para luchar contra los ataques de la migra, las caminatas en el barrio, los talleres que hemos tenido. Hay otros representantes hablaron hubo alguien de Denver, Colorado, de Florida, y hablaron qué están haciendo en su comunidad a luchar y organizar la comunidad contra los ataques de la vida y seguir organizando un movimiento nacional, ¿verdad? Así es que esta conferencia fue más de 1,000 personas, fue muy exitosa, muy animada, muchos jóvenes americanos, latinos, chicanos, de la raza blanca, asiáticos, y todos bien unidos, con mucha fuerza, de seguir luchando no solamente contra los ataques reaccionarios racistas de Trump, pero esta generación también está apoyando la lucha en Venezuela contra Trump y también la lucha del pueblo palestino. Y esta generación que ahora está organizando, también vi y hablaron muchos que están abiertos para la lucha por socialismo contra el capitalismo, ¿verdad? Esta generación nueva ya no tiene ¿cómo se dice? La hangover. No tiene, oye, esta generación no tiene la cruz que teníamos nosotros en los 60, 70, que hoy el comunismo, no, el comunismo está bien, el socialismo es bueno, es para la clase trabajadora, por ejemplo, en Venezuela, cuando triunfó Hugo Chávez, usó los recursos, la riqueza del petróleo para construir miles y miles de viviendas, clínicas, salud, servicio para todos, escuelas para todos, escuelas de música, de ciencia y todo, y colegio para todos, ¿verdad? Y también para mantener su producción de comida propia, ¿verdad? Ya es un país muy bonito, muy independiente, y por eso Trump está atacando a Venezuela, ¿verdad? Pero los jóvenes que estuvieron allí, yo digo que es la nueva generación de revolucionarios, pero están haciendo buen trabajo en su comunidad, están organizando familias, están organizando jóvenes, están en sindicatos, ¿verdad? Están luchando por justicia para familias que han sufrido la muerte de sus hijos y están demandando un movimiento, control comunitario sobre la policía. Y el ejemplo de Chicago, ellos ya ganaron una ley en Chicago de poder tener vigilancia y control comunitario sobre las diferentes estaciones de Chicago, ¿verdad? Porque Chicago, ustedes piensan que la policía es muy mala aquí, en Chicago son peores, ¿verdad? También tuvimos el honor que vino el alcalde Brandon Johnson, un joven afroamericano que es maestro, que salió del sindicato de los maestros de Chicago, fue elegido alcalde, y él habló ahí, él denunció Trump, denunció el racismo brutal de este sistema y se unió con nosotros y habló que dice que tenemos que luchar contra Trump y la migra y unir los movimientos gitanos, afroamericanos, jóvenes y toda la clase trabajadora. Fue una conferencia magnífica. Yo he oído muchas conferencias, pero esta fue una de las mejores, lo que el ánimo, la militancia de la gente, las familias, también, ¿qué más pasó? Tuvo buen ánimo, aprendimos mucho, hablé con gente de Chicago, de Florida, de Louisiana, ¿verdad? Y el otro día, ayer vi a los jóvenes de Florida luchando, vi en la televisión, salieron en Telemundo, estaban protestando contra la migra. Y también alguien lo vio a nosotros, ¿verdad? Que vio no sé, a Jordan o Gay en la televisión. Pero esta conferencia se hace cada 3, 4 años, ¿verdad? La Alianza Nacional contra la Represión Racista y Política, ¿verdad? Así es que esta conferencia es muy importante. Somos miembros, Centros, eso es parte de un afiliado y tuvimos el honor de elegir a Gabriel Quiroz que sea parte de la Mesa Nacional de la Alianza. ¿Verdad? ¿Qué más me faltó? ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? Pero puedo seguir, pero muchas gracias. Ya. Sí, no, y bueno, ya hablé de la unidad entre la comunidad afroamericana, chicana, latina, ¿verdad? Pero esta organización, la alianza, el liderazgo es afroamericano, ¿verdad? Y son parte del movimiento de liberación de los afroamericanos que luchan por su libertad. Si sabemos la historia de Estados Unidos, de la esclavitud, ¿verdad? De la lucha por derechos civiles, de la lucha por educación y sigue la policía matando jóvenes afroamericanos y chicanos y latinos, ¿verdad? Como sufrimos aquí en Los Ángeles. Y por esta organización se unió el movimiento afroamericano, el movimiento chicano, el movimiento de la clase trabajadora para seguir luchando contra Trump. Y lo vamos a derrotar, ¿verdad? Vamos a derrotar a Trump. Abajo con Trump. ¿Vale? No se oye. Abajo con Trump. Y aquí dice, ¿qué dice? Que abajo los federales. Abajo los federales. Que viva la revolución. Abajo los federales.
Gracias. So yeah, so let's do a little chat, when we nerd out there. So it goes, when killer cops are on patrol, what do we want? And then, community patrol. When killer cops are on patrol, what do we want? What do we want? That ends our report back. Thank you, everyone. One thing I want to say too is shout out to, Centro CSO played a big role up there in Naarpr. We're grateful for that, panels, workshops, being able to speak and, that goes to all the work that we've been doing, Centro CSO. Many of y'all are part of this work. You guys are doing it all year long, so that reflects on you guys too. So even though you guys are with us, physically, you guys are wearing our hearts. You guys are there in spirit, and a lot of people respect us and are looking at us as an example. So that's a lot of pressure on us, but we're handling it well. We've been through a lot this year, and we've overcame it. So for the next part of this, we're gonna go off live, and we can just hang out with some sandwiches. Maybe we'll go to an after party. Thank you, guys.
This is why.